of India-Mauritius ties through the day. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi began day 2 of the Mauritius visit with meeting key leaders from the country. In the first, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met former Mauritius Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth. Later, Prime Minister also met leader of the opposition, George Lihangad. And Prime Minister Modi is set to attend Mauritius' 57th National Day celebrations as the chief guest. On the occasion of the National Day, a contingent of Indian Defence Forces is also participating in the celebrations. There will be a ship from the Indian Navy that will be present in Mauritius for the occasion, and in addition to that, the Indian Air Force's Akash Ganga skydiving team will also participate in the ceremonies. Prime Minister Modi, along with his Mauritian counterpart, Ram Gulam, will inaugurate few projects as well that have been implemented with Indian assistance and will witness the signing of several MOUs and agreements on cooperation in the field of capacity building, bilateral trade, tackling of cross-border financial crimes, promoting small and medium enterprises. Later in the day, Prime Minister Modi will also visit the Ganga Talao, a significant Hindu pilgrimage site. He will also offer prayers at the site. Prime Minister Modi extended his wishes to the people of Mauritius on their National Day. Sharing a post on X, Prime Minister says, and I quote, "Looking forward to today's programs, including taking part in the celebrations." And Prime Minister also shared a special video on the key meetings and celebrations. Yes, what?
आज हमके मॉरिशस के धरती पर आप लोगन के बीच आके बहुत खुशी होत बात है। समय के साथ भारत और मॉरिशस के रिश्तों की ये मिठास और भी बढ़ती जा रही है। मैं जब भी मॉरिशस आता हूँ तो ऐसा लगता है कि अपनों के बीच ही तो आया हूँ। Mauritius is not just a partner country. For us, Mauritius is family. This bond is deep and strong, rooted in history, heritage, and the human spirit. India always stands with Mauritius. When Mauritius prospers, India is the first to celebrate. आज मॉरिशस एक पेड़ माँ के नाम से भी जुड़ा है। आज मैंने और प्रधानमंत्री नवीन राम गुलाम जी ने एक पेड़ माँ के नाम अभियान के तहत पेड़ भी लगाया है।
महाकुंभ विजय संपन्न हुआ।
दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा ये इवेंट मानव जाति के इतिहास का करीब 66 करोड़ लोग वहाँ आए। तो जिस मुहूर्त में ये महाकुंभ होता है उसी मुहूर्त का ये गंगा जल ये है मखाना। बिहार का अकेला ही राज्य है जो करीब 80-90% मखाना, और ये न्यूट्रिशन दृष्टि से बहुत ही वैल्यूएबल है।
Just awarded me this great honor. It is perhaps fitting that I should also announce to everybody here today that I've asked the President of the Republic to award to you, Sri Modi, the highest award that we have, Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, very fitting for you.
मॉरिशस के लोगों ने, यहाँ की सरकार ने मुझे अपना सर्वोच्च नागरिक सम्मान देने का फैसला लिया है। मैं आपके निर्णय को विनम्रता से स्वीकार करता हूं। ये भारत और मॉरिशस के ऐतिहासिक रिश्तों का सम्मान है। अगर विश्व में कोई एक देश है जिसका भारत पर पूरा हक है तो उस देश का नाम है मॉरिशस। हमारे संबंधों की कोई सीमा नहीं है। हमारे संबंधों को लेकर हमारी आशाओं और आकांक्षाओं की कोई लिमिट नहीं है।
That was a special video shared by Prime Minister highlighting the important events of day one. He spoke about the civilizational relationship between India and Mauritius, the close ties, the engagements. We saw the colors of India and Indian culture in the engagements that Prime Minister had. A very special engagement with the diaspora as well, where Prime Minister said that Mauritius for India is like a family. Taking forward this special presentation, let me now invite special guests who are joining me for this broadcast. Ambassador M. Ganpati, a former Secretary, MEA and former Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius. Also Professor Sandipani Dash from Department of African Studies, Delhi University. Warm welcome to both of you. Let me also connect with my colleague Akshay Dongre, who's reporting live on Prime Minister's visit. He is in St. Louis, Mauritius. Akshay, if I can come to you first, what are the highlights of day two? Of course, there is this National Day celebration where Prime Minister Modi is going to be the chief guest. Take us through the preparations and the importance of the event.
Shubhendu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already met the former Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravin Jugnauth, and the leader of opposition as well, here of Mauritius. That goes on to show that how cutting across party lines, as far as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned, he has warm relations with all the political leadership as far as the top leadership of Mauritius is concerned. However, looking at the highlights of today's day will be Prime Minister Narendra Modi's a visit to Ganga Talab, where he will be going and infusing the holy pilgrimage site here with the holy Ganges river water that was brought by Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself from the Kumbh Mela, and he will also be attending the parade of the National Day of Mauritius, which will also see participation by the Indian contingent, both in air, in water, and on land as well. So clearly, this signifies the deepening relations between the two countries. We are expecting that a range of memorandums of understanding will be signed between both the countries. And in fact, I'm right now at the National Assembly where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming in a short while from now, along with the Prime Minister of Mauritius as well. So behind me, if I can just show you, these are the people who have come from all across Mauritius, and in fact, this audience comprises of the top leadership of Mauritius, both in political and economic sense, as well as the people of Mauritius who are coming here to attend this event as well, where both the countries will be taking their relationship to the next soon also be taking their relationship to a strategic level, which has been a demand from the Mauritius side as well. So clearly, the relationship is strengthening. The bond between the two countries is deepening, and we can expect both the countries to work closely in several aspects of everyday life for both the people and the working of the countries, be it the defense sector, the maritime security.
Okay.
You are looking at the economic sector and infrastructure development as well, where both the countries are expected now to work in an even more closely coordinated manner. Back to you, Shubin.
Okay, Akshay, thank you for those inputs. We'll keep coming back to you for more. Let me turn to our eminent guests in the program. Ambassador M. Ganapathy, former Secretary MEA and former Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius, is joining us from Chennai. Ambassador Ganapathy, first your thoughts on the significance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, especially the dynamic geopolitics of the Indian Ocean region. In that context, the importance of this relationship, India and Mauritius.
Good morning, Shubhendu. Thank you very much for having me over, Doordarshan. First of all, I should say that the visuals which you have been showing took me back in time when I was posted in Mauritius. It was one of the finest postings I had. The Prime Minister's visit to Mauritius to participate as the chief guest in the 57th National Day is not only symbolically important, but conveys unique message that the partnership between our two countries is strong, unique, time-tested, and firmly grounded in not only reality, but takes into consideration the globe as it is today. The other important issue is India has been always seen as a very reliable partner and also a benign one, because whatever we have offered to Mauritius, and also I should say to other countries, has been without any quid pro quo. And that is very, very important. And let me also tell you that Mauritius has greatly appreciated this and has never done anything which has undermined India's security, stability, and our national interest. And of course, their Prime Minister Ramgoolam has played a singularly important role. In fact, when I was posted there, he used to be the Prime Minister before he lost the election a couple of years later, followed by Praveen Jagannath, whom, as you mentioned in your clips, called on the Prime Minister today morning. Despite the fact that there has been a change in government, the MSM party of Praveen Jagannath to the Labour Party of Navin Ramgoolam, there has been an across-the-party consensus that relations between India and Mauritius will continue to remain strategic, cooperative, and mutually beneficial. The other point which we need to also recognize is that today the Indian Ocean has seen contestation by many other powers who would like to carve out their own power spectrum into the region. I mean, you have China, you have Turkey, you have many other countries who have, but the most important powers or people or the countries which have strategic interests in the Indian Ocean region would be India, in the Western Indian Ocean, I mean, and definitely France, I should put it, because France through the Reunion Island is there. That is why the significance of the award which was announced by Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam yesterday of the GCSK, the Grand Commander of the Order of Star and Key, was important because we should know that Mauritius once upon a time was key to the Indian Ocean and was a lodestar to many a shipping line. So obviously the GCSK award to the Prime Minister recognizes the two sides' strategic imperative in continuing to deepen their partnership in not only their mutual interest, but also for the interest of the region. And also the global south, you should understand that Mauritius is a member of the African Union. It has got 70% of its population which is of Indian origin, and it occupies a very important route in the sea lanes in the Indian Ocean, because in the north there is the piracy, there are other related issues. Therefore, Mauritius will continue to be strategically important.
Right.
In 2015, the Prime Minister's announcement of the security and growth for all in the region was significant because it provided for a vision and a path towards India becoming the prime responder and the prime security provider for countries in the region. And there I would mean Mauritius, Seychelles, and other countries in the western and southwestern Indian Ocean. Of course, one other important thing which has happened from the strategic perspective is the agreement between Mauritius and the United Kingdom on Chagos. And there is a very important paragraph. The last sentence of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's statement says that this had the support of our key partners in the region, and he mentions India and the United States. And with Chagos also having been, the agreement on Chagos also having been accepted by President Trump of the USA,
Right.
when Prime Minister Keir Starmer was in Washington just a couple of days ago, holds a lot of significance and potential. This was one of the last decolonization activities.
Yes, Ambassador Ganpati, I think each of these aspects that you mentioned, we'll have the occasion to discuss them in detail. Let me turn to Professor Shandipani Das. He represents the Department of African Studies at Delhi University. He's with me in the studio here. Professor Das, from the civilizational ties that both the Prime Ministers invoked yesterday to the relationship today, how do you map the evolution of India-Mauritius partnership?
Thank you, Soven. It's a very apt concerns that you raised. And what I personally see this relations, it is a quite qualitative elevations, and that qualitative elevations I see it's from existing transactional priorities and linkages that already His Excellency Ambassador has said. And that transactional relationship is between India and Mauritius, but now it has entered into a more significant civilizational and cultural domain. So one can say it's a India-Mauritius relations to Bharat-Mauritius relations. And when I say it's a Bharat, it's a geocultural space, and that and Mauritius is also a geocultural space, and Mauritius representing the Africa and Bharat from this side. They are a connected geocultural space, and the connecting line is the Western Indian Ocean region. So in that way, it's quite a lot people's linkages, and that linkages is signified by it's not just symbolic gestures, but also it's a connection with the people through this gifting, kind of Kumbh Mela's Ganga water, and celebrating this Ganga Talav pilgrimage sites. And then also you have a Gandhian connection. Gandhi on the way from South Africa to Bharat, he stopped over for a while in Mauritius, and he emphasized on education, political empowerment, decolonizations, and so on and so forth. And these are very important things. These are all legacy issues. And let me also emphasize these legacy issues are not for only historical memory. They have a very practical and kind of utilitarian relevance for today's problems and also solutions for those problems. So in that way, it's a very important and elevated relationship that these national celebrations of the Mauritius is going on, where Honorable Prime Minister is there and gracing the event.
Right. We'll talk about those points, but let's get a quick recap of what happened on day one of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. Back to Tuesday, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a grand ceremonial welcome on his arrival in Mauritius. Akshay Dongre and Tripti Tripathi get us more in this report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi touched down at Port Louis to a grand reception received personally by his Mauritian counterpart, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgulam. A ceremonial guard of honor was accorded to him. Adding to the celebratory spirit, over 200 dignitaries gathered at the airport, reflecting the deep-rooted bond between the two democracies. A special moment unfolded as the Indian diaspora welcomed PM Modi with the traditional Bihari Geet Gawai performance, a folk art that symbolizes the cultural heritage of Indian migrants in Mauritius. The visit continued to the historic Sibu Sagar Ramgulam Botanical Garden, where PM Modi and PM Ramgulam paid tribute to two towering leaders of Mauritius, Sibu Sagar Ramgulam and Anirudh Jagannath, for their immense contributions to the nation's progress. In a symbolic gesture, PM Modi planted a bale sapling under the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative, an effort to honor mothers by promoting environmental conservation. This marks yet another step in his global greening mission. At the State House, Prime Minister Modi met Mauritian President Dharambir Gokul, where the two leaders discussed ways to deepen bilateral ties. PM Modi gifted the holy Sangam water from Mahakumbh and Bihar's nutritious superfood makhana to the Mauritian president. A touch of Indian elegance was added with the traditional Banarasi sari gifted to the First Lady of Mauritius. PM Modi also visited the Ayurvedic garden, a testament to India-Mauritius collaboration in traditional medicine. This initiative strengthened ties in the field of holistic healing, reinforcing a shared commitment to preserving ancient knowledge. From cultural heritage to strategic partnerships, PM Modi's visit to Mauritius reaffirmed the deep-rooted connection between the two nations. With Akshay Dongre, Tripti Tripathi's report for DD India.
Those were the highlights of day one of Prime Minister's visit to Mauritius. Ambassador Ganapati, when you mentioned in your intervention that the relationship between India and Mauritius is not defined by quid pro quo, and Prime Minister says that Mauritius is like family. This degree of intimacy and warmth in diplomacy, how does that distinguish this with regards to the other, if I were to say, strategic competitors in the Indian Ocean region?
Which we need to understand and reflect upon is that Mauritius is comprised of a population which is 70% of Indian origin.
Yes.
And most of them, of course, again in that, the majority comes from Bihar, followed by those from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. So obviously there is a filial affinity, if I can put it this way, between the two countries. The second point is, I think when the indentured labor or the girmetias were taken to Mauritius by then colonial powers, I think they found succor and also strength through strongly clinging to the Ramcharitmanas and the Ramayana. In fact, I think to talk of cultural affiliation, I think not many would know that there is a Ramcharitmanas competition which is organized every year.
Oh.
Mauritius is the only country, not even in India it happens, which celebrates Sita Maiya's birthday and also Gayatri Divas. So I think the roots are very strongly Indian and there is a sense of belongingness. I think I see that in your screen also it's reflected. And that I noticed there very, very strongly. The other point is, when you look at an average Mauritian, he finds that coming to India for his everyday requirement, if it comes to it be marriages or other festivities, he finds a lot of similarity in the customs and conventions. Of course, over a period of time, that has changed significantly because of various other factors.
And Ambassador Ganapati, if I may just add, in the context of the special relationship that you're talking about, that the very act of Prime Minister presenting the water from the Sangam, from the Kumbh Mela, must have great cultural significance as a symbol.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, taking one point behind, in the early part of this century, I think the waters from the Gaumukh were taken and poured into the Ganga Talao. So similarly, when the Honorable Prime Minister has taken Ganga Jal from Sangam and he will pour it today in the Ganga Talao, the Mauritians will consider a sort of a spiritual belongingness. They will feel the same sort of spiritual strength which many of the Indians found taking a dip, holy dip in the Sangam. Just a couple. You have to go there to believe the sanctity of the Ganga Talao is as much strong as you would see anyone taking a dip in Haridwar, Rishikesh, Sangam in Prayagraj, or down below in Varanasi. And I think the temples there also reflect the sense of kinship, if I can say. The Vishwanath temple is a similar replica of the Kashi Vishwanath temple. There is also, they say, the 13 Jyotirlinga there. The Hanuman temple just over the hillock, just behind Ganga Talao, or the many other temples which are there. I mean, reflects the strength which, as I said, and the succor which a lot of people drew in the struggle which they had to face under the colonial powers. In fact, they say that the contribution of those early Mauritians, the indentured labor, the Girmitias, was breaking rocks to convert into a land of gold and silver, which they've done assiduously. And one should recognize that. And today, Mauritius has developed to a large extent, of course, by its own strength and also by the contributions of its partners. Like India has been among the forefront in terms of grants and loans which we have afforded for economic cooperation and defense development. So obviously, I think the interaction and the interplay between the two countries is more than strong. In fact, I haven't felt that sort of Indianness in any other country I've been posted. In fact, I have been to many other countries where the Indian diaspora is very strong, be it London or be it Singapore.
Right.
I think in Mauritius, I mean, just one point if I could make.
Yes.
I mean, this is one country which celebrates every Indian religion with strong. Like, I'll start from January, where you have the Thaipusam Kavadi, which is celebrated in equal fervor in Tamil Nadu. The Mahashivratri is a 14-day grand event, concludes in Ganga Talao, where everyone takes the Kavadi, walks. This entire country comes literally to a standstill. It celebrates Ugadi, the Telugu function. It celebrates Ganesh Chaturthi, which is a Marathi, and Gudi Padwa, again Maharashtrian New Year. So I think and the Tamil New Year, in fact, the Prime Minister and the President participate in each of these functions, and it's to be seen to be believed. And of course, the last thing is the Aprafasi Divas on November 2, which is the day when, in 1834, the ship brought the first load of indentured people, and from then on, we see Mauritius being developed into what it is today. So I think the singularity and uniqueness of this partnership can only be felt and believed when you are there, breathing the air of Mauritius. And that is what we saw in yesterday, the Prime Minister. And I should also add that in this century, every Prime Minister of India and every President of India has been to Mauritius. And we had Prime Minister Narendra Modi there for the 47th National Day of Mauritius, which is today, which is also a recognition of India's. In fact, Sir Shivsagar Ramgulam wanted Mauritius to be declared, its National Day declared on March 12, 1968, as a recognition of Mahatma Gandhi's first step on the Dandi March.
Yes.
Prime Minister was there the 47th, 2015. Now he is there in 57th. In 2025, we have had Prime Minister Manmohan Singh there. We have had President Pranab Mukherjee. We had President Pratibha Patil. We had President Ramnath Kovind. And last year, we had President Draupadi Murmu. So I think every President and Prime Minister of India has made it a point to visit Mauritius. And similarly, from the other side, every Prime Minister has made India his first port of call. Of course, Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgulam hasn't yet been to India, but they have always made it a point earlier. And last point, there is also a statue of the founder of Mauritius, the father of the Mauritian nation, Sir Shivsagar Ramgulam, in Bihar, which Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgulam visited a couple of years ago. And whichever Prime Minister or President has come to India, they always make it a point to visit historical, religious, and other places besides calling on their counterparts in the national capital.
Really numerous ways in which India and Mauritius share warm, close heritage. And while we're talking about the cultural linkages, the importance of Ganga Talao cannot be understated. Let's convey to our viewers that Prime Minister will also visit Ganga Talao, also known as the Grand Basin. It's revered as Mauritius' most significant Hindu pilgrimage site, symbolizes Ganga River of India. The holy waters of Ganga Talao were infused with waters from Ganga in the year 1972. The lake is surrounded by temples dedicated to Lord Shiv, Lord Ganesh, Lord Hanuman. The Shiva temple at Ganga Talao is believed to be the 13th Jyotirlinga, also known as Mauritius Ishwarnath Jyotirling, according to local legend, was established in 1897 by Pandit Jumon Giri. During the visit of India's President Draupadi Murmu to Mauritius, this was last year, 2024, it was announced that Government of India will support the redevelopment of Ganga Talao complex into a special religious, cultural and tourist hub. DD India correspondent Akshay Dongare spoke with the trustee and caretaker of the sacred lake in Mauritius on the significance of Ganga Talao.
Currently at Ganga Talao in Mauritius, one of the most revered spiritual and religious sites. And to talk about how this place is significant, we also have Mr. Satish Dayal with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. There is a lot of interest as far as the Ganga Talao is concerned. Many people also consider the temple here as the 13th Jyotirlinga as well in India too. As the Prime Minister is arriving here in Mauritius, there is a lot of interest as far as India is concerned and in the world as well that these kind of places exist in Mauritius. So can you tell us about the significance of this Ganga Talao?
The Ganga Talao is a very important place, a spiritually revered place, as you mentioned it. It is a Tirthistan, a place of pilgrimage too. And recently it has been declared as a heritage, a spiritual heritage too. For the Hindu, it is a great symbol.
Right.
It is a great symbol because Ganga Talao is a sacred lake. In spite of being a sacred lake, it's a volcanic lake too. And it is a natural lake.
Right.
For Hindu, it is a great symbolism, this lake itself. The two things at Ganga Talao is very important. One is the lake itself. Secondly, the world 13th Jyotirlinga is here. The 12 Jyotirlinga in India, it is the only one which is outside India. And it is considered as the main temple of the country. And very often we used to experience miraculous happenings. And the temple is very, very famous all throughout the world.
You heard all the significance of this Ganga Talao and like Mr. Dayal has explained to us in so many words that how special and pious this lake is and how Mauritius is perhaps the only country outside India that has a Jyotirlinga as well. With camera person Ajit Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongare, DD India.
And Professor Sandipani Dash is with us in the studio. Professor Dash, Prime Minister Modi's Ganga Jal diplomacy, we saw the story on Ganga Talao as well. Again, we've been talking about the civilizational ties, but how do they shape the strategic priorities that the two countries, India and Mauritius, have? What would you say on that?
Yes, actually, this I have a slight difference of viewpoints. As you said, it's like Ganga Jal diplomacy. So when I say, when I heard this diplomacy, diplomacy is more about a transactional. It's like executions of your foreign, foreign policy and external approach. But this approach is more of a very holistic, cooperative, and it's not a strategically competitive approach. But the reality is this: since it is this Mauritius is centrally, kind of strategically located in the Western Indian Ocean region, so it has become in the colonial and Cold War time, it has become a contested, kind of oceanic, space. So in that way, you talk about strategy. But I think this approach will ensure, since as it has been said, 70% of people of Mauritius are from Bharat, and so as a result, their cultural and civilizational kind of attitudes and kind of behaviors, what they bring to it, and that makes the place a more kind of open and cooperative. And but at the same time also it has a relevance in the sense that it will not restrict, but at the same time also it will ensure that this beautiful and peaceful, prosperous space doesn't get entangled in the strategic rivalry between the extra-regional powers or the resident powers. So it has to be more of a cooperative space, and this cooperative space is what Bharat and Mauritius, they want to have in their neighborhood, in their own place and elsewhere. So in that way, it will be this kind of channel of communications, could be trade, could be other things that could be more of a kind of sustainable, peaceful channel of communications, and also a place for pursuing a very sustainable ecological development, rather than having a very competitive, zero-sum game type. Thank you.
Right. Ambassador Ganapati, if you remember correctly, 2015 is when Prime Minister Narendra Modi articulated the Sagar vision, security and growth for all in the region for the ocean partners. And this was Mauritius, where he presents his plan to the world. Now, he also, in his address yesterday to the diaspora, speaks about how Mauritius is at the heart of the Sagar vision. It's the key to the Sagar vision. In the strategic context, how do India and Mauritius engage? How important is one for the other?
Right, you drew the historical factor here that during his visit to Mauritius in 2015, the Prime Minister announced the Sagar Initiative, Security and Growth for All in the region. And I think the strategic significance of Mauritius gets highlighted by the fact that, as I said in the opening statement, it occupies one of the key locations in the sea lanes of communication, the SLOCs. Previously, with the certainty of shipping through the Suez Canal and the Northern Indian Ocean, Mauritius had perhaps lost out a certain significance. But since the piracy, increasing trend to piracy in the Northern Indian Ocean, and also the uncertainty in the Suez Canal through all the developments surrounding it, Mauritius has regained its significance in the SLOCs. It not only occupies a key position, but also is an important area for bunkering of many of the ships which travel through the Indian Ocean. From this perspective, what India and Mauritius have done is we have this strategic defense cooperation, and this has been going on for a long time, of course, since 1974, when we first gifted the INS Amar to Mauritius. Then we have also given various Coast Guard ships. We have provided the Dornier aircrafts to Mauritius. We have also had the advanced light helicopter Dhruv, not to mention the coastal radar surveillance system. 3 of them in the Mauritius, 5 of them on the Mauritius main island, and 1 each in Rodrigues and Brandon and Agalega. And most importantly, the significance of Agalega has to be brought into play. I think at the same time, when I talk of Agalega, I should underscore the point that it is not a strategy. It is not a port, as many of the others would see it to be. It has not been ceded to India. It is very much a Mauritius territory. It is only India providing support to the people of Agalega in their national daily livelihood. And that is where we upgraded their jetty and also the airport there. Because I think Agalega is nearly 1,000 kilometers from the main Mauritius island. And the people there used to face a lot of problem in getting their supplies. The ship which goes from Mauritius goes once a month.
And so just to make the geographical significance clear to the audiences, this Agalega Island is also closer to India. In that sense, the strategic significance of the island and its security becomes paramount.
Oh yes, very much so. And that is why I think when we concluded this agreement, I should underscore, as I said,
yes,
it's not a naval base as
yes,
many make it. And many of the Mauritian prime ministers have also made it clear, be it Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, or be it Praveen Jagannath or Sir Anirudh Jagannath, that it is not a naval base. It is an Indian support for the strategic existence of the people of Agalega. Because even for medical treatment, the Indian gifted Dornier aircrafts fly from Port Louis to Agalega and bring them back for treatment there. And every Indian naval ship which has come to Mauritius on bilateral visits used to go through Agalega and provide for daily, groceries, vegetables, fresh vegetables, so many other things. So I think India's, again, as I said, it is a benign partnership. It is a reliable partnership. And that is how this Agalega is developed. Otherwise, no other country would have given it, even if it was Mauritius, which had so much of a national affinity to India from terms of population. So I think we have ensured that Agalega remains so. And at the same time, the coastal radar surveillance system, which I mentioned, then also we have provided for hydrographical survey of the Mauritius coastline. And very interestingly, I should say, thanks to Indian hydrographical survey, the coastline of Mauritius has increased considerably, and its EEZ has extended beyond what it would have been otherwise possible. And maybe it's as much as India's coastline today, the EEZ. So Mauritius has been very grateful. And of course, I should not forget to mention the INS Barracuda, which we have given, and a couple of other points of significance. The National Security Advisor is a person from the Indian security establishment for many years. We have Indian naval officers who are servicing the Mauritian National Coast Guard. I mentioned the Dhruv helicopter. We have an Indian Army team which provided for their firing range. We have had air service officers also there, Indian Air Force officers also there. So I think the strategic depth of cooperation is immense and wide. It's comprehensive in scope and very extensive to mention. I think leaving aside the bilateral, the community factor, what we have today in terms of the defense and strategic partnership, the economic partnership, we, as you are aware, have signed a comprehensive economic cooperation partnership agreement, also provides for significant input to Mauritius. In fact, till 2019, India was the sole supplier of petroleum products to Mauritius. Of course, because of COVID, some problems came up. But even then, if you look at the Indo-Mauritius trade figure, India is the largest import provider to Mauritius. We supplied around $303 million worth of mineral fuels to Mauritius.
And so I'll have to stop you for a moment. We are now getting the shots of the delegation level talks that are taking place between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister of Mauritius, Naveen Ramgoolam. Those visuals coming in from Mauritius, delegation level talks, close partnership between India and Mauritius. Those shots just came in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in delegation level talks with Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam of Mauritius. Close partnership underlined by civilizational legacy between India and Mauritius, host of areas in focus, and those shots of delegation level talks between India and Mauritius. Ambassador Ganapathy, as we showing those visuals, if you could tell us about the key priorities of the 21st century. We've been talking about the civilizational legacy, but going ahead, how do you also read the priorities between India and Mauritius as the leaders sit across the table to talk?
Of your priorities, I think economic development of Mauritius, providing for security and stability of Mauritius, and also ensuring that what we can provide in terms of not only trade and economic, but also in terms of other issues would be very, very relevant. And that's where I think, as in my previous mention, I talked of the strategic defense and security partnership which has been going on. And that is not going to be diluted by any stretch of imagination. It will perhaps get stronger.
Yes.
I think, I did mention that there was no quid pro quo. It is very important to here refer to a singular point, if I could mention, from the point of view of competitors. I think one of our key competitors had provided for a major economic development project, which after many years could not take off because the terms of the provision did not suit Mauritius's need. Whereas whatever we have been giving has been to Mauritius's satisfaction. So I think the priorities would be, as I said, the stability and security of Mauritius, providing for economic development and growth in Mauritius. Mauritius, if you visit Mauritius, it is as good as any other country, in terms of its cleanliness, in terms of its institutions, in terms of its infrastructure. It's developed very well. And I think to a large extent, we have provided significantly, I think through hospitals, through police training, through the Supreme Court building, through the International Convention Center, through various other things. The metro project, which has been a singular, which has provided for great, movement, facilitated movement with no hindrance down the line. These are all greatly appreciated in Mauritius. And of course, we have regular air connections and our Indian naval ships visit it regularly. So I think this would continue to be the priorities of the two countries. And of course, we would continue to support Mauritius, be it Chagos or be it any other thing which Mauritius asked for, and we have never refused. Last year, the trade was around $800 million, and as the Foreign Secretary had in his briefing mentioned, the bilateral trade, the component of Indian support has been of the order of $1.1 billion, of which the lines of credit has been of the order of around $720 million, and the the grants have been of the order of around $427 million. So significant. We have never shirked from providing for grant assistance in Mauritius.
So we'll again go across live now to Mauritius, the delegation level talks taking place between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam of Mauritius. These visuals are coming in live from Mauritius. In the frame from St. Louis, Prime Minister Narendra Modi alongside his Mauritian counterpart, Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam. This is just after the delegation level talks. Both leaders present in Port Louis, expected to address the media also in just a bit, but these visuals are coming in live. The delegation level talks concluded a short while ago between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam of Mauritius. And the visuals coming in live, both leaders in the frame from Port Louis, Mauritius.
Secretary for Foreign Affairs, on behalf of Mauritius, and Shri Vikram Mishri, Foreign Secretary, on behalf of India. May I invite the two Foreign Secretaries to move forward, please. I have the honor to invite Dr. the Honorable Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam and His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi to rise and come forward to witness the exchanges, please. The first exchange will be the MOU between the Central Bank of Mauritius and the Reserve Bank of India on local currency settlement system. The second exchange will be the credit facility agreement between the government of Mauritius and the State Bank of India to finance projects being implemented by the Central Water Authority under the pipe replacement program. The third exchange will be the MOU between the Institute of Foreign Service of India and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade of Mauritius on training program for diplomats. The fourth exchange will be the technical agreement on the sharing of white shipping information between the Indian Navy and the Mauritius Police Force. Thank you. I kindly request the Foreign Secretary of India to take his seat, please. I now invite His Excellency, Mr. Anurag Srivastava, the High Commissioner of India to Mauritius, to join Ambassador Roy Bisunduyal for the exchange of the remaining 4 agreements.
Thank you.
The fifth exchange will be the MOU between the Financial Crimes Commission of Mauritius and the Directorate of Enforcement of India. The sixth exchange will be the MOU between the Ministry of Industry, SMEs and Cooperatives of Mauritius and the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises of India on cooperation in the field of micro, small and medium enterprises. The seventh exchange will be the MOU between the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms of Mauritius and the National Centre of Good Governance, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances of India on training of public officers. The eighth exchange will be the MOU between the Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services, Ministry of Earth Sciences of India, and the Department for Continental Shelf, Maritime Zones Administration and Exploration, Prime Minister's Office of Mauritius. We now proceed with the handing over of a navigation chart on Saint-Brandon. Thank you. May I now invite Dr. the Honorable Prime Minister of Mauritius and His Excellency the Prime Minister of India to take their seats, please. I also invite the Secretary for Foreign Affairs to return to his seat. We now proceed with the second segment of today's event. We will now watch a video clip on the Area Health Center in Cap Malheureux and 20 community development projects in Mauritius, including Rodrigues. These projects are funded through grant assistance from the Government of India under the High Impact Community Development Project Scheme. I invite you to watch the screen in front of you.
India-Mauritius, a timeless partnership. India and Mauritius share a deep-rooted relationship built on history, ancestry, culture, and language. Over the decades, this bond has strengthened through cooperation in maritime security, trade, education, culture, and global diplomacy. A key pillar of this partnership is India's extensive development support, shaping Mauritius's social and infrastructural landscape. From the Metro Express project and new Supreme Court building to the social housing project, ENT hospital, and digital e-tablets for students, India has played a crucial role in transformative projects. Initiatives like the Swami Vivekananda International Convention Center, World Hindi Secretariat, and renewable projects such as an 8-megawatt solar energy project further highlight India's commitment. Beyond large-scale projects, India's high-impact community development projects have touched grassroots communities, launching 96 projects since 2022. Sports complexes, children's playground, solar initiatives and disaster preparedness projects across Mauritius and its outer islands. Guided by the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, India's support is not just about infrastructure, but about fostering well-being, prosperity and strong ties between our nations. Today, PM Narendra Modi and PM Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgulam will jointly inaugurate the Area Health Centre and 20 high-impact community development projects. The Area Health Centre will offer comprehensive medical services including diabetes care, maternal health and rehabilitation. The 20 high-impact community development projects will enhance the well-being of Mauritians and improve their quality of life. Together, we contribute to build a brighter future for all Mauritians.
Thank you. We now proceed with the e-inauguration of the Area Health Centre in Cap Malheureux, followed by the e-inauguration of the 20 community development projects. I have the honour to invite Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister of Mauritius and His Excellency the Prime Minister of India to take the respective remotes from the side tables, please. Your Excellencies, to proceed with the inauguration of the Area Health Centre in Cap Malheureux, may I invite you to press the button. To proceed with the inauguration of the 20 community development projects, may I again invite Your Excellencies to press the button. Thank you, Excellencies. We now move to the final segment of our program. May I invite Dr. the Honourable Naveen Chandra Ramgulam and His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi to move to the lectern for their respective statements to the media, please.
Well, first of all, good morning. Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Paul Béranger, Madam Speaker, Ministers, Junior Ministers and distinguished guests, and members of the media. His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, has honored us by his presence amidst us on the occasion of the National Day celebrations of the 57th anniversary of our independence. His distinguished presence on this momentous occasion is testimony to the unique and very special relations which bind our two countries. It will be recalled that while formal diplomatic relations were established in 1948, our people-to-people ties go back to centuries. The resounding success of the community event held last evening at the Triano Convention Center, which gathered both Mauritian citizens and members of the Indian diaspora, was a clear illustration of the vibrancy of shared cultural heritage. I am proud to underscore the dynamic partnership between our two countries. Mauritius, as we are well aware, continues to benefit from Indian assistance for its socio-economic development. The signature of key agreements in wide-ranging sectors, such as those we have just witnessed today, covering such diverse sectors as crime investigation, maritime traffic monitoring, infrastructure, diplomacy, commerce, capacity building, finance and ocean economy, as well as the handing over, which we just saw, of the navigation charts of Saint-Brando, have further enhanced our already excellent bilateral relations. Let me also highlight the assistance provided by the Government of India in the implementation of the high-impact community development projects, 20 community projects, as well as the area health center at Camp Malagoi, which we inaugurated today. These projects, which relate to the renovation of playgrounds, community and health centers across Mauritius, Rodrigues and Agadiga, will no doubt contribute to the improvement of the quality of life of our citizens. During this visit, the Prime Minister of India and myself had very constructive discussions on how to take our bilateral relations to even greater heights. In this perspective, I am pleased to announce that His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi and myself have further agreed to strengthen our relations through a Mauritius-India joint vision document for an enhanced strategic partnership. Our shared vision is to increase our cooperation in existing and emerging sectors, such as space research, artificial intelligence, digital health, ocean economy, pharmaceuticals, ICT, fintech, and cybersecurity. We are grateful that India will continue to assist Mauritius in modernizing our health sector. In this respect, we will collaborate closely on programs aimed at drug de-addiction and rehabilitation. Our two countries will continue to reinforce trade relations through the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement and set up such innovative mechanisms that would further facilitate exchanges for our mutual benefit. Climate emergency is another avenue which we have agreed to cooperate to address and mitigate the existential threats for small island developing states like Mauritius. We look forward to firming up our cooperation in the maritime sector as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot conclude without repeating our deep gratitude for India's unflinching support to the long-standing struggle of Mauritius to exercise its full sovereignty over its entire territory. Shri Narendra Modi, beyond your principled and unflinching support, we thank you once again for your pivotal role in this respect and for being a respected, strong voice in the favor of Mauritius. Built on mutual respect, shared values, and a long history of cooperation, our bilateral relations are continually reinforced through our commitment to progress. During my previous 10 years as Prime Minister, I have endeavored to strengthen and expand this treasured relationship, and I have no doubt our relationship will now reach even higher levels, and it will benefit both our peoples and countries. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Your Excellency, प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम जी, दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के सभी साथी, नमस्कार। बॉजूर 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की ओर से मैं मॉरिशस के सभी नागरिकों को राष्ट्रीय दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। यह मेरे लिए बहुत सौभाग्य की बात है कि मुझे दोबारा मॉरिशस के नेशनल डे पर आने का अवसर मिल रहा है। इसलिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम जी का और मॉरिशस सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। साथियों, भारत और मॉरिशस का संबंध केवल हिंद महासागर से ही नहीं बल्कि हमारी साझी सांस्कृतिक परंपराओं और मूल्यों से भी जुड़ा है। हम आर्थिक और सामाजिक प्रगति की राह पर एक दूसरे के साथी हैं। प्राकृतिक आपदा हो या कोविड विपदा, हमने हमेशा एक दूसरे का साथ दिया है। रक्षा हो या शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य हो या स्पेस, हम हर क्षेत्र में कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चल रहे हैं। पिछले 10 वर्षों में हमने अपने संबंधों में कई नए आयाम जोड़े हैं। विकास सहयोग और क्षमता निर्माण में नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए गए हैं। मॉरिशस में गति के लिए मेट्रो एक्सप्रेस, न्याय के लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट बिल्डिंग, सुखद प्रवास के लिए सोशल हाउसिंग, अच्छे स्वास्थ्य के लिए ईएनटी हॉस्पिटल, व्यापार और टूरिज्म को बढ़ावा देने के लिए यूपीआई और रुपे कार्ड, किफायती और बेहतर क्वालिटी वाली दवाइयों के लिए जन औषधि केंद्र, ऐसे कई पीपल सेंट्रिक इनिशिएटिव्स हैं जिन्हें हमने समयबद्ध तरीके से पूरा किया है। अगालेगा में बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी से साइक्लोन चीदो से प्रभावित लोगों तक मानवीय सहायता तेजी से पहुंचाई जा सकी। इससे कई जानें बचाई जा सकी। अभी हमने काप मेलेरे एरिया हेल्थ सेंटर और 20 कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स का उद्घाटन किया। कुछ देर बाद प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पब्लिक सर्विस एंड इनोवेशन को देश को समर्पित करने का सौभाग्य मिलेगा। साथियों, आज प्रधानमंत्री नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम और मैंने भारत मॉरिशस साझेदारी को एनहेंस स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का दर्जा देने का निर्णय लिया है। हमने निर्णय लिया कि मॉरिशस में पार्लियामेंट की नई बिल्डिंग बनाने में भारत सहयोग करेगा। यह मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी की ओर से मॉरिशस को भेंट होगी। मॉरिशस में 100 किलोमीटर लंबी पानी की पाइपलाइन के आधुनिकीकरण के लिए काम किया जाएगा। कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट के दूसरे चरण में 500 मिलियन मॉरिशियन रुपए के नए प्रोजेक्ट्स शुरू किए जाएंगे। अगले 5 वर्षों में भारत में मॉरिशस के 500 सिविल सर्वेंट्स को ट्रेनिंग दी जाएगी। हमारे बीच लोकल करेंसी में आपसी व्यापार का सेटलमेंट करने पर भी सहमति बनी है। साथियों, प्रधानमंत्री जी और मैं सहमत है कि रक्षा सहयोग और मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का अहम हिस्सा है। फ्री, ओपन, सिक्योर एंड सेफ इंडियन ओशन हमारी साझी प्राथमिकता है। हम मॉरिशस के एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन की सुरक्षा में पूर्ण सहयोग देने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। इस संदर्भ में कोस्ट गार्ड की जरूरतें पूरी करने में हर संभव सहायता दी जाएगी। मॉरिशस में पुलिस अकादमी और नेशनल मैरीटाइम इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग सेंटर, इसकी स्थापना में भारत सहयोग देगा। वाइट शिपिंग, ब्लू इकोनॉमी और हाइड्रोग्राफी, इस पर सहयोग को और मजबूत किया जाएगा। चागोस के संदर्भ में हम मॉरिशस की संप्रभुता का पूर्ण सम्मान करते हैं। कोलंबो सिक्योरिटी कॉन्क्लेव, इंडियन ओशन रिम एसोसिएशन और इंडियन ओशन कॉन्फ्रेंस जैसे मंचों के तहत हम सहयोग बढ़ाएंगे। साथियों, पीपल टू पीपल संबंध हमारी भागीदारी को मजबूत नींव प्रदान करते हैं। डिजिटल हेल्थ, आयुष सेंटर, स्कूल एजुकेशन, स्किलिंग और मोबिलिटी में सहयोग बढ़ाया जाएगा। हम एआई और डीपीआई यानी डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का मानवीय विकास में उपयोग के लिए मिलकर काम करेंगे। मॉरिशस के लोगों के लिए भारत में 4 धाम यात्रा और रामायण ट्रेल के लिए सुविधा दी जाएगी। गिरमिट धरोहर के संरक्षण और संवर्धन को बल दिया जाएगा। साथियों, ग्लोबल साउथ हो, हिंद महासागर हो या अफ्रीका भूभाग, मॉरिशस हमारा महत्वपूर्ण साझेदार है। 10 वर्ष पहले विजन सागर यानी सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ फॉर ऑल इन द रीजन की आधारशिला यहीं मॉरिशस में रखी गई थी। इस पूरे क्षेत्र की स्थिरता और समृद्धि के लिए हम सागर विजन लेकर चले हैं। आज इसको आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि ग्लोबल साउथ के लिए हमारा विजन रहेगा सागर से आगे बढ़कर के महासागर, यानी म्यूचुअल एंड होलिस्टिक एडवांसमेंट फॉर सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ अक्रॉस रीजन्स। इसमें ट्रेड फॉर डेवलपमेंट, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग फॉर सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ और म्यूचुअल सिक्योरिटी फॉर शेयर्ड फ्यूचर की भावना समाहित है। इसके तहत टेक्नोलॉजी शेयरिंग, कंसेशनल लोन और ग्रांट के माध्यम से सहयोग किया जाएगा। एक्सेलेंसी, एक बार फिर मॉरिशस में मिले आत्मीय स्वागत के लिए मैं आपका और मॉरिशस के लोगों का हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं आपको भारत यात्रा करने के लिए निमंत्रण देता हूं। आपका भारत में स्वागत करने के लिए हम तत्परता से प्रतीक्षा करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Excellencies. Before closing the final segment of our program, I invite Dr. the Honorable Prime Minister of Mauritius and His Excellency, the Prime Minister of India, to move to the center of the stage for a photo souvenir. Thank you, Excellencies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of this function. Kindly remain seated.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his Mauritian counterpart Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, speaking to the media and addressing the gathering on the key takeaways of the delegation-level talks between India and Mauritius. Host of areas where the engagement has been enhanced. Most importantly, the partnership has been transformed into a elevated to strategic partnership. Prime Minister in his address also spoke about the expansion of the Sagar vision to the Mahasagar vision, expanding to the whole of the global south. There are key agreements also in the domain of economic partnership with regards to local currency, with regards to sharing of shipping information, support for smaller businesses and more. Two eminent guests continue to be with us in the program, Ambassador M. Ganapathy and Professor Sandipani Dash. Professor Dash, if I can come to you, how do you map the key takeaways of the delegation-level talks? I want to come to the Mahasagar vision first. Sagar vision was articulated in 2015 during Prime Minister Modi's first visit as Prime Minister to Mauritius, and now he speaks about expanding it to the whole of global south, the Mahasagar vision. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, it's it's a continuations and elevations of the Sagar to Mahasagar, and as Prime Minister has very aptly said about, it is not only these Hind Mahasagar or Indian Oceans, not only global south, but the African continent. So in that way, it's a connected, and that connection is possible because the constant strength of this Bharat and Mauritius relations is the center stage of the people's relationship, and that has been mainstreamed here through these cultural and civilizational connect. But at the same time, also that also inspired to take on the problems like confronting the how do you contain the crimes and all stuff, and also a lot of governance, institutional collaborations. And more important, as far as global south is concerned, the first and foremost agreement on currency swapping, that's the key area, because this is where you have that kind of a lot of financial surplus gets depleted from this part of the world, and that is very important. And given the thick and very strong economic financial relationship between Bharat and Mauritius, that's very important. And other strategic and security cooperations and also governance. So host of institutional collaborations and institutions wise foreign officers training and kind of financials and other institutional, and also building the parliaments, like mother of democracy. Bharat is building a parliament in Mauritius. That means for democracy, you are kind of cooperating on the institutional basis. It's not to giving ideas and then talking about what is that quid pro quo of the interest and
let's also once again go through the key takeaways of the delegation level talks, the agreements between India and Mauritius. We'll have those highlights on the screen in just a bit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, Prime Minister of Mauritius, just concluded delegation-level talks. We're going through the highlights of it. A number of MOUs were signed. India-Mauritius exchanged several MOUs, primarily focus on the economic engagement and capacity building between the two countries. MOUs in the field of maritime and banking was exchanged between the two leaders to the two countries. Also agreements in the field of war shipping information and maritime navigation also has been exchanged to strengthen the partnership in the Indian Ocean region. India and Mauritius have signed in all 8 MOUs in diverse areas. We're looking at the different areas. Central Bank of Mauritius and the Reserve Bank of India also signed agreements on local currency settlements. MOUs between Financial Crimes Commission of Mauritius and Enforcement Directorate of India. We're going through the highlights of the agreements between India and Mauritius. Technical agreement on sharing of white shipping information. Significant boost to smaller businesses, micro, small and medium enterprises in the two countries, India and Mauritius. Agreement also on maritime zones, administration and exploration taking place between India and Mauritius, important partners in the Indian Ocean region. And those are some of the highlights of the agreements between India and Mauritius. A number of MOUs, 8 in all, exchanged between India and Mauritius. The two leaders, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam of Mauritius, leading the talks. Agreements also in the field of warshipping, information sharing, maritime and navigation also exchanged. India and Mauritius have signed 8 MOUs. That's the news that's coming in from St. Louis, Mauritius. Both leaders hailing the partnership between India and Mauritius, elevated it to the strategic partnership level between Financial Crimes Commission of Mauritius, Enforcement Director of India to curb financial crimes. The two countries are going to work closer together. Technical agreement on sharing of white shipping information, greater focus on the partnership in blue economy in the Indian Ocean region, MOUs in the field of micro, small and medium enterprises, the manner in which smaller businesses can cooperate together and work together. Let me turn to Ambassador Ganapathy, former Secretary MEA, former Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius. Ambassador Ganapathy, I want to first come to you about the elevation of ties to strategic partnership. Of course, there are a host of areas where the engagement has been taken forward. A strategic partnership between India and Mauritius from now on, what does that entail?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think we have a strategic partnership. What has happened is the Prime Minister announced it to be enhanced to a, it has to be upgraded to an enhanced strategic partnership. I think what does this imply is it reflects on the classical strengths of the relationship between the two countries, and it is extensive in scope and comprehensive in content. I mean, you mentioned the 8 MOUs which were signed, and these MOUs not only talk of trade, economy, defense, security, infrastructure, finance, capacity building, health, and all other areas. I think so, you know, a strategic partnership would have been reflecting a small portion of what has been seen between the two countries in terms of their partnership. But an enhanced strategic partnership, as was mentioned by both the Prime Ministers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam, and the 8 MOUs and what was mentioned in the statement, does reflect the enhancement. In fact, if you also recall what Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam said, the cooperation would extend to space cooperation, artificial intelligence, oceanography, cyber security, and many others. So obviously, I think this is not a simple sort of partnership between traditional partners, but it is more than that. And if you look at maritime security, which is significant for Mauritius, because Mauritius has 4 islands. The main island of Mauritius, which is roughly 800 odd square kilometers. Then you have St. Brandon, Rodrigues, which is the second largest. St. Brandon is the third, and Agalaga is the fourth. And these are, between the main island of Mauritius and Rodrigues is 500 kilometers. Between St. Brandon and main island is around 300 kilometers. And between Agalaga and the main island of Mauritius is over 1,000 kilometers. So I think maritime security becomes paramount. Then you have the white shipping information, which is very, very relevant. And Prime Minister also mentioned that we will make every effort to provide for the Mauritius Coast Guard development, and its activities. And that's why, as I mentioned, we have the head of the Mauritius National Coast Guard as an Indian naval officer, and we have various other officers in the Mauritius National Coast Guard drawn from the Indian Navy and from the Indian National Coast Guard. Then you have, of course, as we talked of the Dornier aircraft, the advanced light helicopter Dhruv, the INS Barracuda, and the Mauritius Mauritius Coast Guard Barracuda, because it's been given to them, and the coastal radar surveillance system. So these are all a package of various activities and inputs which go towards providing for Mauritius's national security. And of course, we talked of the police academy, the hydrocarbon sector, the National Information Sharing Center, the EZ security. So I think all this provides naturally for what you said as the enhanced. One other point which is very important from a bilateral community point of view is the World Hindi Secretariat, is based in Mauritius, fully supported and developed by India, which we should not forget. And of course, Prime Minister mentioned, we should also mention the commercial loans, grants, which will be very, very favorable to Mauritius in comparison with what we offer to many other
Right.
countries.
Also, Ambassador Ganapati, yesterday in the diaspora address, Prime Minister spoke about the manner in which Mauritius forms a link between India and the global south. And today, the Sagar vision has been expanded, has been taken forward to the next level, if I may use that phrase, to Mahasagar, to sort of include the whole of global south. India's important interventions for and on behalf of global south. We've talked about that in the past months and years. How do you see this expansion of the Sagar vision also taking into account the need of the hour, India's leadership of the global south?
You see, if you talk of Sagar, it was security and growth for all in the region. Now, the Mahasagar encompasses not just the region, but as you rightly put it, the global south. And the Prime Minister has made every effort to have these global south summits, most of them virtual, but the participation level has been significant. And one of the key factors in this global south engagement was during our G20 presidency, when the Prime Minister initiated by bringing in the Prime Minister's initiative in bringing in the African Union as a partner in the G20 was significantly appreciated by not only the African countries, but by the global south countries. So I think in terms of the global south vision which we see, most of the countries in the region see that India's voice carries a global resonance today. And that's why enhancement of the Sagar, which was restricted to the region, to a Mahasagar, provides for a global and enhanced engagement between India and countries of the global south. And it's most appropriate that Sagar was announced 10 years ago in 2015 by the Honorable Prime Minister in Port Louis, and the Mahasagar similarly has been announced 10 years later in 2025 in Port Louis and during the time of the Mauritius' 57th National Day celebration. So I think India's voice in Global South and voice of Global South summits is a reflection of that. And I think there's no doubt that it provides for enhanced diplomatic engagement of India with the Global South and also among the other various international organizations and partnerships.
Right. Professor Dash, what really stands out if we look at the bilateral engagements and also the address of the two leaders is India's, we've been talking about it, of course, India's development partnership with Mauritius. And Prime Minister interestingly lists from transport, the metro services to justice, the Supreme Court building, also the Parliament house that is coming up, this social housing, there are health interventions, also in financial services. Professor Dash talks about UPI and RuPay transforming the financial economic infrastructure of Mauritius. How do you see that really as the bedrock of the partnership between India and Mauritius? Professor Dash.
Yeah, this current unfolding augmentation of this development partnership is becoming a really, very comprehensive in the real sense, because all segments of these developments have been getting addressed, and it's not only addressed, but they're addressed to the first. So these all aspects starts with the cultural civilization linkages. That's the foundations that brings people to the front. And when you bring people's front to the relationship, that relations become really adventurous. It is not mere become the state and between state and governments or the market forces, but it's about the people who are the real stakeholders. And that when you bring this people as the real stakeholders, then you have a lot of issues at your tables, and then you have to respond to them. And there need not only your breadth of your approach, but also kind of energy to execute that. So in that way, you have to starting from trade, investment, finance, governance, and then security, space. As Prime Minister said, it's Surakya and Shikya, and Swasthya and space. So that is a spectrum of and
Professor Dash, if I may just add, Prime Minister also speaks about Prime Minister Modi speaks about AI and DPI, AI, artificial intelligence, DPI, digital public infrastructure. Both these areas, particularly the latter, India has made significant strides in using that for human development, for the people-to-people connect between the two nations. Professor Das.
Yeah, it shows how do you look at the people's request. It's catering to the cross section of the peoples, from all strata of the peoples are there, are the stakeholders, and so that's why you're saying, AI to DPI. So artificial intelligence is more about kind of educated and people's things, and the DPI is about the day-to-day transaction of everybody's. So in that way, it's quite a comprehensive range of these things. So it's like you are bringing science, technology, and all possible modern infrastructures, and there people are the stakeholder, the center of this relationship. So in that way, the development is a very comprehensive relationship, and it's also sustainable, and it is not a mere kind of transactional or is a industrial development. It's a more comprehensive and all-inclusive adventurous relationship.
Right. Ambassador Ganapati, India-Mauritius ties in the context of the ocean partnership, the blue economy, cannot be overstated. There are so many references in the bilateral engagement that talk about the partnership between the two countries in the Indian Ocean region, whether it's the exclusive economic zone of Mauritius that needs to be protected and India is going to play a part, the economic engagements, that there is also, as you mentioned earlier, the navigation information sharing. Then interestingly, Prime Minister also speaks about, it almost reminds one of the vision for the Indo-Pacific when he talks about free, open, safe Indian Ocean region. How do you see the two countries collaborating? It's very, very crucial and dynamic, as we started this discussion with, dynamic ocean regions, ocean waters, and the two countries working together.
Oh, absolutely correct. I think one point on the blue economy I should mention is the minister in waiting for the Prime Minister is Dr. Arvind Bulel, who is a former foreign minister and currently the Minister of Agriculture, Agri-Industries and the blue economy. Very significant there. The second point is, yes, I think the Indian Ocean washes both our shores, and Mauritius also is the headquarters of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, and also the Indian Ocean Commission, which we are not a member. So the Prime Minister, if you recall, in his speech a little while ago, mentioned that we would contribute significantly, along with Mauritius, in the IORA, the IOC, and the CSC, the Colombo Security Conference. So that is the linkage, you could say, of where we stand between in the two countries in terms of ocean cooperation, ocean development, and also the significance of the various economic engagements attached thereto. So I think, if you look at historically, oceans have always been a very, very important parameter in power outreach and also global development. And whereas the power outreach of the former colonial powers has been towards colonization, India's power outreach has been towards supportive engagement of the various countries we have been engaging in the region and beyond. I think that is a very, very significant, and that's where we talk in terms of reliable and benign supporter of power in the region. So I think what you asked and what you said is very, very correctly, was very, very correctly pointed out to the Prime Minister in terms of the cooperations in, through the IORA, the IOC and the CSC. And here, I think Prime Minister also mentioned Chagos, if you recall, and he said that we are shoulder to shoulder in support of Mauritius on Chagos. And that is why, if I mentioned in my opening statement, the UK-Mauritius agreement and the last paragraph of Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK's reference, says that we have the support of our support of the important global partners, India and the United States of America. So I think the recognition of India's role and contribution in ocean development, ocean security, ocean economy is not only seen among the countries of the region, but also beyond. And today, our role in the Indian Ocean is recognized significantly. And that's why we are one of the leading partners and players in the Indian Ocean.
Right. Professor Dash, how do you also see this very positive and and forward-looking agreements and engagement in the Indian Ocean region in the backdrop of real-world challenges from isolated instances of piracy and ocean crimes to the kind of inroads that China is making in the region?
As I told you earlier, it was somehow this Indian Ocean region has become a very strategically contested space, despite the fact that Bharat is at the center stage of this oceanic space, and Mauritius is very strategically important. But that contested now there's a kind of silver lining, because it is a mainstreaming the people's linkages, and as I told you earlier, that these oceans always remains the connecting line between the civilizational exchanges. And when the civilizational exchanges happens, the exchanges are bound to be positive. But due to the irony of history, what happens thanks to, I already mentioned about this colonization process and the imperial quest. So this exchange of civilization linkages was relegated and is replaced by enslavement of lives and livelihoods. As a result, it has become a very competitive space, and China is nothing but is an alter ego of the Western powers. As a result, what happens? It is not a it's a it's a Mao's China, or it's a statist China. It is not a societal China. And that statist China as entry into Indian Ocean, it has brought certain kind of this extended extractive approach, and that creates space more competitive.
Right.
But silver lining is that now these Bharat and Mauritius, you coming together with lot of fuss and figure. So there's a chance and possibility that strategically competitive space will retransport into a cooperative and or inclusive space.
Right. On that note, thank you very much, Professor Sandipani Dash. Also, thank you, Ambassador M. Ganapathy, for staying with us for the past couple of hours and sharing those insights and taking us through understanding the close ties between India and Mauritius. Many thanks for your presence.
Thank you.
Bye. And with that, we conclude this special presentation. Special coverage of India-Mauritius ties. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Mauritius continues. He'll be participating in the National Day celebration in moments from now. So stay tuned to DD India for that special coverage. But I'll take your leave for now. Namaskar.
Geopolitics and trade deals, economic challenges amid development, hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
This week on Defense Dynamics, India showcases its naval prowess through TROPEX-25. Is the country sending a strong message to China and other regional powers about its maritime power projection? Also, with Pakistan trying to acquire new stealth fighters and China's growing military might, can the Indian Defence Forces counter the looming two-front war? As tensions prevail with China and Bangladesh, are the India's military exercises near critical Siliguri corridor important for safeguarding security in the northeast? And hundreds of Alawite civilians have been killed in Syria's coastal region. Is the new Syrian government turning on its own people? Tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
What is more important, fixing the present or planning for the future? Innovators across the globe rethinking the way we live to secure a better future for us.
I found out about the Rahi trade-in scheme. I went to the agency and discovered that I could receive a subsidy for this e-rickshaw.
We basically mirror that same process, but instead of water for one of our solutions, we use blocks, powering about 35,000 homes.
Our goal is to send a message that it's important to fight for better urban air quality. And I think Liquid 3 sends that message.
We prepare fish amino acid by mixing the fish waste with jaggery. It is also an excellent organic fertilizer for plants and trees.
We're moving from the lab stage to industrial scale production. We still have a few challenges to deal with, but we've seen that it works.
A confluence of spirituality, knowledge and culture. The progenitor of democracy, Bihar holds a special place in India's history. Treasure the journey of enlightenment. Travel the holy circuit trails of multiple faiths. Experience the legacy of ancient India. And an educational lineage that produced some of the greatest luminaries of the time. Discover a multitude of art and craft forms. Savor the true flavors of the land and enjoy the sights and sounds of iconic festivals. Delve deeper into the natural beauty of this land, enriched by the sacred river Ganga. Today, Bihar's infrastructure is at the heart of its transformation. Poised to take a big leap with initiatives in agriculture, education, tourism, and information technology. An ode to a remarkable history. Bihar truly offers a glimpse into a captivating past and vibrant present. Welcome to Bihar.
Goa, a food paradise, both steeped in historical culinary tradition and at the forefront of a modern-day food revolution that is fresher, more local, and more global than ever before. I'm embarking on a journey across the state to explore the very best of food here.
This is honestly my favorite way to eat an egg.
Break bread with some of Goa's most loved chefs and understand what food really means to communities here. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching a special broadcast here on DD India as part of our continuing coverage of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Mauritius. He'll be the chief guest at the National Day celebrations of the island nation. We'll take you live to Port Louis for that in just a bit. But first, let's get started. So as you know by now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Mauritius. He and his Mauritian counterpart Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam have jointly addressed the media. The two leaders witnessed the exchange of some key agreements. The memoranda of understanding include local currency settlement system, credit facilities agreement, training program for diplomats, technical agreement on the sharing of white shipping information, MOU between Financial Crimes Commission of Mauritius and the ED of India, cooperation in the field of micro, small and medium enterprises, training of public officers, MOU on ocean information as well. Earlier, Prime Ministers Modi and Ramgoolam held delegation-level talks. The Prime Minister began day 2 of his visit on Wednesday by meeting key leaders of Mauritius. Now, Prime Minister Modi met former Mauritius Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth. They held discussions on enhancing India-Mauritius cooperation. The Prime Minister also met the leader of opposition. They had fruitful deliberations on further strengthening the India-Mauritius friendship. And Prime Minister Modi is all set to participate as the chief guest at Mauritius's 57th National Day celebrations. He has extended his greetings of the day to the people of Mauritius. He said on X, looking forward to today's programs, including taking part in the celebrations. The Prime Minister also shared a video. Take a look.
आज हमके मॉरिशस के धरती पर आप लोगन के बीच आके बहुत खुशी होत बात है। समय के साथ भारत और मॉरिशस के रिश्तों की ये मिठास और भी बढ़ती जा रही है। मैं जब भी मॉरिशस आता हूँ तो ऐसा लगता है कि अपनों के बीच ही तो आया हूँ। Mauritius is not just a partner country. For us, Mauritius is family. This bond is deep and strong, rooted in history, heritage, and the human spirit. India always stands with Mauritius. When Mauritius prospers, India is the first to celebrate. आज मॉरिशस एक पेड़ मां के नाम से भी जुड़ा है। आज मैंने और प्रधानमंत्री नवीन रामगुलाम जी ने एक पेड़ मां के नाम अभियान के तहत पेड़ भी लगाया है।
At the joint press conference, Prime Minister Modi extended India's support to Mauritius.
प्रधानमंत्री नवीन चंद्र रामगुलाम और मैंने भारत मॉरिशस साझेदारी को एनहेंस स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का दर्जा देने का निर्णय लिया है। हमने निर्णय लिया कि मॉरिशस में पार्लियामेंट की नई बिल्डिंग बनाने में भारत सहयोग करेगा। यह मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी की ओर से मॉरिशस को भेंट होगी। मॉरिशस में 100 किलोमीटर लंबी पानी की पाइपलाइन के आधुनिकीकरण के लिए काम किया जाएगा। कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट के दूसरे चरण में 500 मिलियन मॉरिशियन रुपए के नए प्रोजेक्ट्स शुरू किए जाएंगे। अगले 5 वर्षों में भारत में मॉरिशस के 500 सिविल सर्वेंट्स को ट्रेनिंग दी जाएगी। हमारे बीच लोकल करेंसी में आपसी व्यापार का सेटलमेंट करने पर भी सहमति बनी है।
And joining us on the phone line from Port Louis is my colleague Akshay Dongre. Akshay, talk to us a bit, if you will, about the optics and outcomes of the talks that were held in Port Louis.
Well, first of all, coming to the optics and the kind of bonhomie that has been seen between the two countries was in fact visible as soon as Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Mauritius with the Prime Minister himself coming to greet the Prime Minister of India along with several other top dignitaries of the country. And the optics continued as far as the receptions are concerned, be it when Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached the place where they are supposed to stay, where Geet Gawai and other traditional welcomes were performed by the people of Mauritius. Soon after that, we have seen how Prime Minister was warmly received by even the President of the country. Then we saw the kind of engagement that he had with the top leadership of the country, including who hosted him at his residence as well. And when we talk about the outcomes of this particular visit, clearly we have seen the kind of warmth that was given by the Indian diaspora at the community event yesterday, where thousands of people gathered from all across Mauritius to get a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And this warmth was in fact reciprocated by the Prime Minister of India when he called the people of Mauritius his family, and the country a place where it always feels like home whenever he comes. We have also seen today when Prime Minister Narendra Modi had visited the top leadership, including the former Prime Minister, the leader of opposition, and now Prime Minister will be attending the National Day Parade of Mauritius, where even the Indian contingent will be marching alongside their Mauritian counterparts. And there will also be aerobatic exercise displayed by the Indian Air Force, and a naval ship of the Indian Navy will also be participating in the particular celebrations of the National Day of Mauritius. The day is quite significant for both the countries. In fact, this is the day when Mahatma Gandhi started his Salt March, and this is the same day when Mauritius gained independence as well. So while the diplomatic relations were established in 1948, and the consistency has been shown by almost all the governments in India as far as prioritizing relations with Mauritius is concerned, but the kind of impetus that was given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership is unprecedented. In fact, in the last 10 years, we have seen Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting the country twice. The last year, it was the Honorable President who was the chief guest of the celebrations of Mauritius National Day. So clearly there is a consistency, but the memorandums of understanding that have been signed today between the two countries is all but expected to take the relationship between the two countries to a next level. Also, we have seen Prime Minister announcing that even the 7th generation of Mauritians will be given extended the OCI cards, which means that even the people-to-people connect is being prioritized by both the leadership of the country.
Right, we'll leave it there. Akshay, thank you. Akshay Dongre reporting there from Port Louis, the capital of Mauritius. Right, let me give you viewers a historical perspective of the significance of this day, 12th of March. The selection of 12th March, Mauritius's National Day celebration, symbolizes the shared history between Mauritius and India, as it marks the day Mahatma Gandhi launched the Dandi Satyagraha against the British colonial rule. On his way to India from South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi briefly stopped over in Mauritius between 29th of October and 15th of November in 1901. Mahatma Gandhi steered the destiny of Indian laborers with his three transformative messages: the importance of education, political empowerment, and staying connected with India. In his homage, the National Day of Mauritius is celebrated on March the 12th, which is the date of Gandhiji's Dandi Salt March. The day serves as a reminder of both India and Mauritius's shared struggle for freedom and highlights the strong ties between the two nations, rooted in their common fight against colonial oppression.
12 मार्च को नेशनल डे के रूप में चुनना अपने आप में हम दोनों देशों के साझा इतिहास का प्रतिबिंब है। ये वही दिन है जब महात्मा गांधी ने गुलामी के विरुद्ध दांडी सत्याग्रह शुरू किया था। ये दिन दोनों देशों के स्वतंत्रता संघर्षों को याद करने का दिन है। कोई भी बैरिस्टर मणिलाल डॉक्टर जैसे महान व्यक्तित्व को नहीं भूल सकता, जिन्होंने मॉरिशस आकर लोगों के अधिकारों की लड़ाई शुरू की। और हमारे चाचा रामगुलाम जी ने नेताजी सुभाष और अन्य लोगों के साथ मिलकर गुलामी के खिलाफ अभूतपूर्व संघर्ष किया।
Now an Indian warship, the INS Imphal, has arrived at Port Louis, marking her maiden visit to participate in the 57th Mauritius National Day celebrations. The visit aligns with the long-standing tradition of Indian Navy warships and aircraft contributing to such significant events. The INS Imphal will participate in the National Day parade with a marching contingent, naval band and a flypast by integral helicopter as part of these celebrations. The ship will field a marching contingent, a naval band and helicopters for the flypast. The Indian Air Force's Akash Ganga skydiving team will also participate in the ceremony. Right, time to bring in our guests. Joining us on this special broadcast with me is Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakraborty and Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. Gentlemen, welcome to this special broadcast. If I can start with you, Ambassador Chakraborty, would you like to give our viewers an overview of India-Mauritius ties in terms of the optics and outcomes from the just concluded talks?
Well, as you said, the optics obviously is very good, and there's a long history why it is so. India and Mauritius, people of 70% of the people of Mauritius are of Indian origin. They went as, many of them went as, most of them I think, as indentured laborers during the British period to work in the plantations. They settled down, they took Indian culture, they took everything from here, their cuisine, the food. And then there is, of course, the other, non-Indian kind of people of African and French origin. And then even their language is a kind of a mixture of various, French and African and other words. So anyway, the point is that they have been looking towards India as the mother country in many ways. And that is why there is this very emotional and sentimental bond.
Right. Apologies, Ambassador. If I can just take a moment to remind our viewers of the latest visuals coming from Port Louis of Prime Minister Modi arriving at the venue of the National Day celebrations of Mauritius. Right. So these are the visuals of the Indian Prime Minister along with the Mauritian President. And we'll take you live to the National Day celebrations in just a bit. But let's stay on the visuals for now of the leaders, Prime Minister Modi, along with the Prime Minister and President of Mauritius. Right, while we're on these visuals, Ambassador, do finish making a point.
So this history has, basically generated very strong bonds. And on the strategic side, Mauritius is located in the Indian Ocean, close to towards Madagascar, and is therefore occupies a very strategic location in the Indian Ocean and the trade routes. And as most people know that the Diego Garcia, the American base, is part of the Chagos Islands, which is claimed by Mauritius. So there are some of these issues that are that binds India and Mauritius into a very strong embrace. We've been, of course, helping Mauritius in various fields, particularly defense also, and training, and provided defense hardware whenever they want, and they use all that training. So I think it's for India. It's a very, very useful sort of place for watching what is happening in the Indo-Pacific maritime area. And the fact remains that even in the financial side, there are strong relationships with Mauritius, and so that many of these, and then the cultural ties with the students coming to India. I remember studying in Delhi University, and in the hostel there were many Mauritians who became friends, and I caught up with them later when I visited Mauritius, and the warmth that they exhibited was quite exemplary. So these are some of my thoughts.
Indeed, Air Marshal Kapoor, if I can come to you now, while we are watching these visuals live from the venue of the Mauritius's National Day celebrations. Right, we'll stay for a bit. We'll watch these visuals for the moment now before we go to our guests.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the national flag, our country's foremost national symbol, is proudly floating at the top of the mast. Red, blue, yellow, green. The color red representing the struggle for freedom and independence. Blue represents the Indian Ocean, in the middle of which Mauritius is situated. Yellow, the new light independence. And green, the agriculture of Mauritius and its color throughout the 12th month of the year. It is a solemn moment of great pride, reaffirming the Mauritius identity. Corporal Richardson and Woman Police Sergeant Rajana were the flag raisers and bearers respectively for our National Day.
Le quadricolore rouge, bleu, jaune et vert qui flotte fièrement dans le ciel cornusien. Le public qui est réuni au champ de Mars pour vivre ce moment solennel et exceptionnel.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself for a thrilling, awe-inspiring aerial display by the air warriors of the Mauritius Police Force in collaboration with the Indian and French air arms. Look to your right, the skies welcome the Mauritian Chetak helicopter from the police helicopter squadron, gracefully approaches the skies and proudly trooping the Mauritian flag. Now direct your attention to the sky and you will witness a spectacular three-helicopter formation by the Mauritius Police Force Chetak helicopters flying in big formation called the sign Eagle. Leading the formation, Wing Commander Chima alongside ASP Dupon. To the left, the helicopter is commanded by SP Bobichon and WDASP Hamji. And to the right, piloted by SP Bolaki and DASP Chedi. And to further symbolize the unbreakable bond of friendship, the Indian Navy's MH-60R seamlessly complements this formation. And just behind the Chetak, entering the display zone, is the MH-60R Seahawk, the latest addition to the Indian Navy's Air Squadron 334, proudly trooping the Indian tricolor. This cutting-edge maritime aircraft symbolizes India's unwavering support and strong strategic partnership with Mauritius.
Le fly past ici dans le ciel port-louisien, mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités du beau spectacle, comme le veut la tradition. Et auparavant, le Parade Commander, lieutenant-colonel Gopi, a procédé au retrait de la garde d'honneur.
And distinguished guests, the skies will now showcase a proud display by one Dornier aircraft, the Sentinel of the National Coast Guard under the Mauritius Police Force. And this aircraft conducts surveillance, search and rescue, and protect the nation's exclusive economic zone.
Oui, des appareils que nous avons l'occasion, lors des célébrations, de voir de beaucoup plus près. On parle bien sûr ici de sécurité. Ce sont des appareils qui sont très utiles en matière de sécurité.
And now you can see to your right the Dornier aircraft entering the zone. It is commanded by Commander Ajit Paris Bogart and his crew, Commandant Gautam Narendra, Lieutenant Commander Aman Sharma, and Inspector Lizette. And the spirit of international unity continues now, approaching from the horizon the Kazakh transport aircraft from the French Air Arm, flying over the Champ de Mars. This display symbolizes deep-rooted friendship between France and Mauritius. And now, as we honor the bravery and commitment of the police helicopter squadron, known for their unwavering motto, Braving Skies, Saving Lives, now presents a magnificent aerial salute to our distinguished guests. Helicopters execute this synchronized tribute a moment of sheer pride and honor.
Le spectacle ici avec ce flypast. Les hélicoptères que vous venez d'apercevoir également.
And after the spectacular display of helicopter and flypast, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, next on the National Day celebrations program, there will be march past by Mauritius disciplined forces.
Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, à présent, le march past.
The melodies of the SMS Bagpipers Band. We are also honored to have the detachement from the French 2e Régiment de parachutistes d'infanterie de marine des forces armées de la zone de l'océan Indien. We are also honored to have participation of Seychelles People's Defense Forces. The Special Support Unit, another paramilitary unit of the police force. The Special Response Group of the Special Support Unit. And now the Women Police Unit of the Mauritius Police Force. And marching with pride, the Indian contingent from the Indian naval ship Imphal, commanded by Captain K.K. Chaudhary, docked at the Pottery for National Day. It symbolizes our strong ties. The Indian Naval Band elevates to this moment with patriotic melodies. Officers of the National Coast Guard Guard, a paramilitary unit of the Mauritius Police Force dedicated to ensuring maritime safety and securing our exclusive economic zone. The NCG Marcos, elite marine commandos trained to combat piracy at sea and safeguard the waters of Mauritius. Officers of the police helicopter squadron, experts in aerial surveillance, search and rescue, and supporting ground operations. Adding a unique rhythm to this march past, the prison band and the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service band. The Mauritius Prison Service is among the main component of the criminal justice system. Male and female prison squads play a crucial role in ensuring security, rehabilitation and reintegration within our society. And the skilled officers of the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service play a key role in responding to fires and disasters. Officers of the Mauritius Revenue Authority responsible for tax collection and enforcing of revenue laws in the country. The Fisheries Protection Service asked to enforce regulations and protect marine biodiversity while supporting the growth of the fishing industry. And bringing energy and flair to this event through their baton twirling show. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Major and Majorette of the Queen Elizabeth College. You will have the privilege to see the Major and Majorette performing later on during the ceremony.
Les Majors et Majorettes du Queen Elizabeth College, que vous aurez d'ailleurs l'occasion de revoir un peu plus tard, mesdames et messieurs.
And concluding the march past, teams of dedicated volunteers, the National Youth Council, Fellowship First Aiders, St. John Ambulance, Mauritius Red Cross, Professional First Aiders, the Mauritius Scouts Association, Pathfinders Youth Club, Girl Scout, Association of First Aiders, Mauritius Recreational Council. And we are also honored to have high-level athletes and para-athletes who have made our flag shine high at international sporting events.
Oui, les athlètes et para-athlètes, Fabrice Bolloc, Julie, Noémie, Alphonse, Nouvelle Philippe, notamment Anaïs Angeline, qui ont brillé au plus haut niveau. Les para-athlètes qui se préparent pour les mondiaux justement en septembre et octobre, les mondiaux de parathlétisme qui vont se tenir en Inde, à New. Le match post placé dans quelques instants au défilé des véhicules, principalement des différentes unités de la force policière.
Now we proceed with the défilé of vehicles from the various branches, units and organizations of the Mauritius Police Force, the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service, amongst others, starting with the traffic branch. The motorcycles and vehicles of the traffic branch are key assets that support the branch in enforcing traffic regulations and promoting road safety. In addition, the branch is responsible for issuing and regulating driving licenses throughout Mauritius and Rodrigues.
Le Traffic Branch, mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, unité qui abat un gros travail au quotidien sur les routes afin d'assurer la sécurité routière et de guider les automobilistes.
Next in view, a défilé of the armored vehicles highlighting the strength and preparedness of the Special Mobile Force, a key paramilitary unit within the Mauritius Police Force, Structured as a motorized infantry battalion, the SMF includes 5 companies, 2 squadrons, an engineer squadron, and a disaster response unit. Equipped with armored vehicle, the SMF plays a crucial role in safeguarding both internal and external security.
Et également ce véhicule va nous traverser du groupe d'intervention de la police mauricienne. Et on parle aussi du maintien de l'ordre avec les Special Mobile Force jouant un rôle crucial.
And taking part in this défilé of vehicles and officers of the Special Support Unit displaying some of the specialized equipment used in their operations. The SSU plays a crucial role in assisting the regular police during civil unrest, providing security for sensitive locations. And our défilé of officers and marine commanders, vehicles and boats of the National Coast Guard with an exclusive economic zone of 1.8 million square kilometers. The MCG is tasked with protecting Mauritius' maritime wealth and assisting seafarers. It plays a vital role in enforcing laws, safeguarding maritime zones and combating illegal activities. Officers of the scene of crime play a crucial role in investigating and documenting crime scenes. The Emergency Response Service tasked to respond rapidly to emergencies. The police du tourisme, ensuring tourist safety in Mauritius. The police de l'environnement. And with a committed team of approximately 200 officers, 14 fisheries posts operating round the clock. The Fisheries Protection Service plays a crucial role in safeguarding and preserving the marine ecosystem. And concluding the défilé, the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service showcasing their state-of-the-art equipment. But prior to that, we have officers of the Mauritius Revenue Authority. The Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service showcasing their state-of-the-art equipment. This includes the aerial ladder, 32-meter high vehicle, the hazmat vehicle, and the swift-water rescue vehicle, and the fire-fighting and water tanker, all vital in responding to emergencies.
Le véhicule de Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services, les pompiers qui viennent de nous traverser, mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités sous une pluie fine, ici au Champ de Mars.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have the police band, along with the prison and Mauritius and fire rescue service bands and the SMF bagpipers perform at today's National Day celebrations. These officers who have received specialized training in India bring their refined skills to the stage, adding a unique cultural touch to the event. Their performance is testament to the strong ties and cooperation between Mauritius and India, further enhancing the spirit of unity on this special occasion. Fire and Rescue Service bands, we now proudly present a baton twirling show by 43 Majorette and A Major of the Queen Elizabeth College. Practiced since 1972, baton twirling promotes discipline, perseverance, and leadership. Trained by Mrs. Jennifer Ning, a former Majorette of the institution, the performers showcase their talent and dedication in this captivating display. A warm round of applause to the Major and Majorette for this spectacular performance, beautifully implemented by the wonderful musical accompaniment of the police, prison and Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service bands.
Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, c'était les majors et majorettes du Queen Elizabeth College. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm informed that unfortunately, because of prevailing bad weather conditions, the skydiving by Akash Ganga skydiving team, Indian Air Force, won't be in the program today. Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, on vous informe qu'à cause du mauvais temps, le skydiving by Akash Ganga skydiving team, Indian Air Force, n'aura malheureusement pas lieu. Merci.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to witness the conferment of insignia, a momentous occasion marking the first time this highest distinction is being awarded as part of the National Day celebrations. The insignia is the highest distinction awarded by the Republic of Mauritius, recognizes exceptional contribution and service to the nation. This prestigious honor will be conferred upon our esteemed chief guest, His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, as a mark of appreciation for his unwavering commitment to strengthening the bonds of friendship and cooperation between our nations. To do this honor, I now invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to kindly come forward for this historic occasion. With great honor, I invite our chief guest, His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, to come forward and receive this prestigious insignia in recognition of his outstanding contribution to our enduring partnership. The Republic of Mauritius to present, on the advice of Dr. the Honorable Navin Chandra Hambulam, GCSK FRCP Prime Minister, the award of Grand Commander of the Order of the Star of the Indian Ocean to His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic.
Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean.
I now kindly invite His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi to address the gathering.
His Excellency Ramveer Gopulji, Prime Minister, His Excellency Navin Chandra Ram Gulamji, sisters and brothers of Mauritius, I express my heartfelt gratitude for being confirmed the highest national award of Mauritius. This is not just my honor, it is the honor of 1.4 billion Indians. It is a tribute to the centuries-old cultural and historical bonds of kinship between India and Mauritius. It is an acknowledgement of our shared commitment to regional peace, progress, security, and sustainable development. And it is a symbol of the shared hopes and aspirations of the global South. I accept this award with full humility and gratitude. I dedicate it to your ancestors who came from India to Mauritius centuries ago, and to all their generations. Through their hard work, they wrote a golden chapter in the development of Mauritius and contributed to its vibrant diversity. I also embrace this honor as a responsibility. I reaffirm our commitment that we will continue to make every effort to enhance India-Mauritius strategic partnership to greater heights. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor of calling upon Dr. the Honorable Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of everyone present, I extend my sincere gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Mauritius, His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, and Dr. the Honorable Prime Minister. This concludes the insignia ceremony. I kindly request the dignitaries to return to their seats as we continue our National Day celebration. In a short while, we will turn to a cultural program that reflects the rich diversity and unity of our nation. Due to bad weather, this cultural program might delay a little bit. Independent Mauritius is a vibrant cultural mosaic built from the many traditions and heritage that form our society. This cultural tapestry is held together by the cement of understanding, mutual respect and tolerance. As we reflect on the theme of this year's National Day celebrations, as one people, as one nation, proudly celebrating 57 years of independence and 33 years as a republic, we are reminded of the strength in our unity and the pride we take in our collective achievements. Happy National Day celebrations to all citizens of Mauritius here and around the world.
Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, concernant le spectacle culturel, avec le mauvais temps ici au Champ de Mars, ça va être probablement légèrement décalé. Spectacle qui est une célébration du peuple mauricien, de sa capacité à s'exprimer, à se rencontrer, à se réinventer. C'est à travers cette expression portée par la diversité, le dialogue entre cultures, que s'est construite notre nation. Comment nos racines dialoguent-elles avec notre présent? Comment l'héritage de nos ancêtres continue-t-il d'inspirer notre identité mauricienne d'aujourd'hui et de demain? Dans une scénographie immersive, où les reliefs, les images et les éléments de notre patrimoine, les arts deviennent le langage de cette traversée. Danse, musique, chant, photographie, vidéo, peinture et art numérique s'entrelacent pour raconter une histoire en perpétuelle évolution où le passé, le présent et l'avenir se rejoignent dans un même élan. Les décors, inspirés de nos paysages, de nos îles et de l'océan qui nous entoure, incarnent les espaces dans lesquels nous vivons et rêvons. Les marches de la Seine, symboles de progression, d'effort et d'élévation, accueillent les artistes et musiciens, créant une fresque vivante.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this very site, Champ de Mars, Port Louis, is very historic. 57 years ago, this very place, the Union Jack was lowered and the Mauritius flag was raised for the very first time, marking the birth of our independent nation. We owe this historic achievement to the collective efforts and countless individuals whose courage, vision and unwavering commitment to freedom paved the way for a new era under the leadership of Sir Siltikaragor Rambulam, the father of the nation. Independence was not just a political milestone, but the foundation upon which our nation was built, a journey of perseverance, development and national unity.
Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, les artistes qui vont devoir attendre que ça se calme légèrement, nous vous remercions de votre patience. Et merci d'être avec nous, en tout cas ici au Champ de Mars, pour ces célébrations. Il y a eu depuis 1968 des défis socio-économiques relevés par des générations de citoyens de la République et les efforts continuent dans un contexte difficile. Le 12 mars qui est aussi l'occasion d'avoir une pensée à tous les citoyens pour leur contribution afin de faire avancer la République. On a eu droit, en tout cas, à des moments historiques ici au Champ de Mars en ce 12 mars 2025. Le quadricolore qui flotte très haut dans le ciel cornusien. On aura vécu de très grands moments autour du drapeau national, voire des moments historiques, que ce soit sur le plan local qu'international. Le quadricolore qui a flotté pour la première fois ici même au Champ de Mars en 1968 en présence du père de la nation, Cecil Sagar Angulan. Ceux et celles qui ont vécu ce moment sont témoins de la lutte pour l'indépendance et les émotions du 12 mars 1968 en voyant pour la première fois le quadricolore flottant très haut. Le rouge, bleu, jaune et vert qui ne passe pas inaperçu à travers le monde. Mention également pour nos sportifs qui ont toujours donné le meilleur d'eux-mêmes à chaque occasion qui se présente pour faire briller le quadricolore. Et d'ailleurs, certains d'entre eux étaient présents aujourd'hui pour le March Past. Il y a également eu l'hymne national. Et puis, pour rappel, aujourd'hui, le caporal Richardson et la Women Police Sergeant Rajana ont eu l'honneur de hisser le quadricolore en haut du bas. Sous la pluie, ici donc au Champ de Mars, pour les célébrations du 57e anniversaire de l'accession de Maurice à l'indépendance et du 33e de la République. Et vous l'aurez aperçu, il y a aussi une bonne foule présente aujourd'hui pour venir célébrer, et nous remercions également les membres du public qui ont fait le déplacement.
Since 1968, the national anthem and the national flag has become an important part of our history. The lyrics of the national anthem of the country were written by well-known Mauritian poet Jean-Georges Prosper, and the music was composed by Philippe Gentil, a former inspector of police of the police band. So today, 12th March, is once again an opportunity to express our patriotism, our sense of belonging to the Mauritian nation, to a country built on great values like peace, solidarity, national unity. Independence has brought along a wave of development and economic progress in the island. And despite the rain, the public present here are still at the Champ de Mars, showing their patriotism.
En tout cas, mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, puisque vous avez vu, vous avez assisté, vous avez vécu ici au Champ de Mars aujourd'hui, il y a des jours et des jours de répétition pour tout mettre en place. On salue au passage ces hommes et ces femmes, ces jeunes, les sportifs qui ont fait le déplacement pendant les derniers jours pour venir aux répétitions et pour faire de cet événement un succès. On va parler de l'hymne national, écrit par Jean-Georges Rasper et composé par Philippe Gentil en 1968. C'était bien sûr pour la célébration de l'indépendance. Aujourd'hui, comme invité d'honneur, dans ces célébrations, bien sûr, le Premier ministre de la République de l'Inde, Son Excellence Shri Narendra Modi.
As our chief guest prepares to depart the Champ de Mars, we extend our deepest gratitude for his participation in today's celebrations. His presence has greatly enriched this occasion, symbolizing the strong ties of friendship and cooperation between Mauritius and India. We thank him for honoring us with his time and leadership.
Right, so we're watching the live proceedings from Mauritius's National Day celebrations in its capital, Port Louis, where Prime Minister Modi of India was the chief guest on the occasion. And the big news this hour, the Prime Minister has been officially conferred Mauritius's highest civilian honor, the highest national award of Mauritius. Prime Minister Modi received the award at the celebrations of Mauritius's National Day. The Prime Minister was the chief guest of the celebrations. He thanked the 40 crore people of India and the centuries-old friendship between the two nations in his acceptance speech.
I express my heartfelt gratitude for being confirmed the highest national award of Mauritius. This is not just my honor, it is the honor of 1.4 billion Indians. It is a tribute to the centuries-old cultural and historical bonds of kinship between India and Mauritius.
So Prime Minister Modi saying that he's accepting the award on behalf of the 1.4 billion people of India. Earlier, addressing a press meeting with his Mauritian counterpart, Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's vision for the Global South, calling it Mahasagar, that is mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions.
ग्लोबल साउथ के लिए हमारा विजन रहेगा सागर से आगे बढ़कर के महासागर, यानी म्यूचुअल एंड होलिस्टिक एडवांसमेंट फॉर सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ अक्रॉस रीजन्स. इसमें ट्रेड फॉर डेवलपमेंट, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग फॉर सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ और म्यूचुअल सिक्योरिटी फॉर शेयर्ड फ्यूचर की भावना समाहित है. इसके तहत टेक्नोलॉजी शेयरिंग, कंसेशनल लोन और ग्रांट के माध्यम से सहयोग किया जाएगा.
The Mauritian Prime Minister Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, welcoming India's Prime Minister Modi, highlighted the unique and special relations which binds the two countries.
Prime Minister of the Republic of India has honored us by his presence amidst us on the occasion of the National Day celebrations of the 57th anniversary of our independence. His distinguished presence on this momentous occasion is testimony to the unique and very special relations which bind our two countries. The resounding success of the community event held last evening at the Triano Convention Center, which gathered both Mauritian citizens and members of the Indian diaspora, was a clear illustration of the vibrancy of shared cultural heritage.
Next, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the Ganga Talab, also known as Grand Bassin. It's revered as Mauritius's most significant Hindu pilgrimage site, symbolizing the Ganga River of India. The water of Ganga Talab were infused with the holy water from the Ganga in 1972.
Ganga Talab, also known as the Grand Basin, is Mauritius's most significant Hindu pilgrimage site, symbolizing the Ganga River of India. Water from the holy Ganga River were infused in the Ganga Talab in 1972. The lake periphery is dotted by temples of three prominent Hindu deities, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh, and Lord Hanuman. Many regard the Shiva temple as the 13th Jyotirling. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also had a pleasant gift for many families who could not visit Prayagraj for the Mahakumbh.
मैं जानता हूं कि मॉरिशस के अनेक परिवार अभी-अभी महाकुंभ में भी होकर आए हैं, लेकिन मुझे ये भी पता है कि मॉरिशस के मेरे अनेक परिवारजन चाहते हुए भी एकता के इस महाकुंभ में नहीं आ पाए। मुझे आपकी भावनाओं का ध्यान है, इसलिए मैं आपके लिए पवित्र संगम का और महाकुंभ के उसी समय का पवित्र जल साथ लेकर आया हूं। इस पवित्र जल को कल यहां गंगा तालाब को अर्पित किया जाएगा।
A notable feature of the Mauritius Iswarna Jyotirling is the 33-meter-high statue of Shiva, the tallest statue in Mauritius. Festival of Mahashivratri is synonymous with devout taking water from the Ganges to be offered to Lord Shiva near their homes. Mauritius Hindus also celebrate the festival with equal fervor and enthusiasm. Up to 400,000 pilgrims carry the holy water from the Ganga Talab and offer it to the Shivlings in their homes or local temples. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India's Akshay Dongre spoke with the trustee and caretaker of the sacred lake in Mauritius on the significance of the Ganga Talab.
We are currently at Ganga Talab in Mauritius, one of the most revered spiritual and religious sites. And to talk about how this place is significant, we also have Mr. Satish Dayal with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. There is a lot of interest as far as the Ganga Talab is concerned. Many people also consider the temple here as the 13th Jyotirlinga as well in India too. So as the Prime Minister is arriving here in Mauritius, there is a lot of interest as far as India is concerned and in the world as well that these kind of places exist in Mauritius. So can you tell us about the significance of this Ganga Talab?
The Ganga Talab is a very important place, a spiritually revered place as you mentioned it. It is a Tirthistan, a place of pilgrimage too. And recently it has been declared as a heritage, a spiritual heritage too. For the Hindu, it is a great symbol.
Right.
It is a great symbol because Ganga Talab is a sacred lake. In spite of being a sacred lake, it's a volcanic lake too. and it is a natural lake.
Right.
For Hindu, it is a great symbolism, this lake itself. The two things at Ganga Talav is very important. One is the lake itself. Secondly, the world 13th Jyotirlinga is here. The 12 Jyotirlinga in India, it is the only one which is outside India. And it is considered as the main temple of the country. And very often we used to experience miraculous happenings. And the temple is very, very famous all throughout the world.
You heard all the significance of this Ganga Talav, and like Mr. Dayal has explained to us in so many words that how special and pious this lake is, and how Mauritius is perhaps the only country outside India that has a Jyotirlinga as well. With camera person Ajit Kumar, Amakshi Dongre, DD India.
Right, time to bring in our guests once more on this special broadcast. With us is Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakraborty and Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Let me start by asking you, Air Marshal Kapoor, we saw the Indian marching contingent take part in the military parade on the occasion of Mauritius National Day celebrations in Port Louis. We saw the Indian helicopters also do the fly past. Talk to us a bit, if you will, about the defense and security cooperation between India and Mauritius, and where does the IAF in particular, find its place in it?
See, Mauritius from time immemorial, for last many decades, has been sending their personnel for training to India. The cadets join our training establishments, both at the officer level and as well as the level of the soldiers or airmen or sailors. The training continues beyond the basic training at the Defence Services Staff College, that is around the major level. Then it goes to the higher command level, that is around the colonel level. And later we find a lot of Mauritian officers coming and training with us at the NDC, that is at the brigadier level. So at every level, starting from the junior level till you reach the level of supervisory status or the strategic decision making, they have been training with us. Now, as far as the contribution of the Indian Armed Forces to strengthen the Mauritian Armed Forces goes, it is for many decades now that our people are positioned there at Port Louis and associated islands to train their personnel. The Indian Navy, per se, being the maritime force, has stationed a large number of their personnel on active duty, manning the vessels and the ship and the crafts of the Mauritian Armed Forces. The Indian Air Force has presented the Dornier aircrafts. The Indian Navy has given the Dornier aircrafts. The Indian Coast Guard has, like the ambassador just mentioned, given a couple of high-speed vessels for their patrolling. The exchange programs which we carry out between the two services. And today's event, with the Honorable Prime Minister being there, having our INS Imphal reaching there on time, the contingent from the same ship, INS Imphal, with the band performing, and the helicopters on board this ship doing the fly past, marks the presence of Indian armed forces there. And also the Akashganga fly past, which we just witnessed with the heavy rains going on, couldn't be carried out, but is one of the finest free fall and skydiving display across the world. The location and the acceptability of Indian armed forces in this region is something which we should all be proud of.
Absolutely. Ambassador Chakraborty, Prime Minister Modi, when he visited Mauritius 10 years ago in 2015, coined the term Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. Today, he has gone a step ahead and coined a new term, Mahasagar, standing for mature and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. And he also spoke about how India-Mauritius ties do not have any limits. No limits is what he said last night at the banquet speech. Does that bode well? I mean, does that take the relations to a whole new level going forward?
This is all tied up with basically the India's strategic interests in the maritime area.
Mm-hmm.
particularly the Indian Ocean and the Indo-Pacific. And Mauritius obviously is a strategic partner. In fact, this time they have raised the level to advanced strategic partner, which means that, as you said, there will be no limits to cooperation in almost every field. The defense partnership is, of course, very, very strong and will continue. I don't see that being set aside. And I think it is important for India and Mauritius to join hands to ensure security and all the things that are represented by Sagar and Mahasagar in this common area that we share, the maritime zone. So this is a very, very important relationship, and not just for the old historical and ethnic ties that we have with Mauritius, but also because in the current era, the kind of events that are taking place in terms of changes in the geopolitical kind of order, I think it brings this relationship right up front in terms of our priorities. So this is what I feel that India has been pursuing, and the reason why Prime Minister has gone there. Of course, he was invited for the National Day celebrations. I remember going there with President Abdul Kalam for the National Day celebrations many years ago, and so I was very happy to see that that Prime Minister was the chief guest this time. As you know, we also have a system of inviting chief guests for our Republic Day. So this is something similar, and clearly conveys a signal to everyone, to the rest of the world, that this relationship has become deeper and will continue to grow, deeper over time.
Indeed. Air Marshal Kapoor, convention has it that the Mauritius's National Security Advisor has, over the years, been a veteran Indian Armed Forces officer. But that apart, we've seen both countries are members of many regional and global groupings, including but not limited to the Indian Ocean Rim Association, the Colombo Security Conclave, and now with Prime Minister Modi talking about enhancing or taking it to the enhanced strategic partnership level and assuring Mauritius a full security cooperation or security of its EEZ. Is there scope for doing more in terms of maritime security between India and Mauritius?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The archipelago, which is in contention by the other countries, the British have the stake on one of the archipelagos in the north, which they have extended. The American presence at Diego Garcia, which they are extending. And by the way, I was reading somewhere, the Americans are spending over $300 million to bring up their embassy in Port Louis. So this indicates the interest of these countries. The Chinese presence in the area, because strategically the area falls in the sea lines of communication where the complete global trade moves. And the western portion of the Indian Ocean, close to Madagascar, is of extreme strategic importance for the world. And being in our neighborhood, it can really impact our presence in our own ocean. So towards this, there is a huge scope. We can put in, through our indigenous capabilities, a lot of coastal radars, which our country has agreed to. The Ajera military base, which the India has extended to support the Mauritian armed forces, is setting up as a joint services training establishment, and also monitoring of the whole sea lines and the exclusive economic zone. The other factors which have come into is the Indian armed forces, and especially the Air Force lately, has been training their personnel on the aircraft maintenance. They have been training them for the ground duties and radar manning. Also, a large number of Mauritian personnel come for various courses on flight safety, bird avoidance, and all these things. But this being the primary job till now, with the strategic partnership, I feel that the Mauritian government would invite the Indian Armed Forces to set up the training establishments right at their place, wherein we take and train a lot of people. The neighboring country of Bhutan, which has a full setup of the Indian Army, training the people, I expect a similar kind of an agreement being signed in the next few months, wherein the Indian presence to train the personnel of the armed forces right there and then, or at the place, would be in place. And also the ships and the maritime equipment which they have would be upgraded. So towards this are shipyards, the boats and the infrastructure creation would be another factor which they would be looking at. The huge spread over thousands of kilometers between the islands would want them to develop their airfields so as to monitor and check on piracy and other things, for which they would be requesting the Indian Air Force, and also for commercial activities, the Airport Authority of India to develop their flagship airfields and greenfield airfields, from which they could launch operations in case of a requirement, and otherwise could be used for tourism and trade. These are a few factors which come to my mind after listening to the Honorable Prime Minister developing the strategic military cooperation with Mauritius.
Right. Ambassador Chakraborty, talking about the discussions that Prime Minister Modi held with his Mauritian counterpart, a couple of points stand out. One, India promising to help build Mauritius's new parliament building. Two, to redevelop or put in place a water pipeline on the island. But strikingly, Prime Minister Ram Ghulam said at the banquet speech last night, he officially, publicly thanked India for taking a position, for taking a stand, helping Mauritius regain sovereignty over the Chagos Islands, including Diego Garcia. He thanked Prime Minister Modi for taking the lead as early as November 2022 in talking to both sides, the British and the Mauritians, including the Americans for that matter. That speaks glowingly about India's stand over the years historically against anti-colonialism, isn't it?
Yes, of course. And India has always maintained that position and not flinched from it, despite our excellent strategic ties with other countries like the US. And this is going to be India's position. We made it very clear that you cannot, retain the legacy of colonialism forever. Someday it has to be. So I think there is a way forward. I think what can be done is an agreement between the US and the Mauritius, rather than depending on the UK as a intermediary, because it had once ruled this place. So I think Mauritius is entitled to get back sovereignty over this island, but for strategic and other reasons, pragmatic reasons, they can do a deal with the US in terms of leasing out the island, because US. So I foresee a Mauritius-India-US partnership here, because we are strategic partners with both countries. So I think this is probably a good thing that is happening, and the emphasis on sovereignty of the Mauritius is non-negotiable for India, and we have taken that stand, and it's a principled stand, and it's going to stay.
Gentlemen, we're approaching the end of this special broadcast. We have just about 5 minutes left on this broadcast. One last question to the both of you, starting with you, Air Marshal Kapoor. In terms of the optics and outcomes of Prime Minister Modi's engagements in Port Louis, did it tick all the right boxes for you? Anything that stood out in particular for you?
It stood out because the importance given at this stage to go and visit this country highlights how much India is looking at Indian Ocean region now, with the influence of the Indo-Pacific importance of China, its presence in this region, and also the exclusive economic zone monitoring, India has rightly ticked all the boxes, in my opinion, and has gone a step forward in getting into strategic partnership with this important country in this region. And that is my take.
You get the last word, Ambassador Chakravarti, in terms of the outcomes. Prime Minister Modi being bestowed with Mauritius's highest civilian award. India also reaching out the Indian diaspora in Mauritius. The PM giving the OCI cards to his Mauritian counterpart and his spouse. Your thoughts on the big takeaways from Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Mauritius and the way forward for both countries?
Very important outcomes for us, for both countries actually. And it's all a part of India's strategic thinking and future vision, where the maritime zone has become much more dominant in recent years. And hence the role of the Indian Navy has become so crucial. And the Indian Ocean has become, the domain for all these activities, strategic outreach, etc. Because let us not forget that 60% of world trade passes through this lines of communications, and that's a very important trade route to be protected, and for everybody, not just for India, but for everybody. And we have also seen the growing footprint of China in this region as China sort of strives to become a global power and obviously tries to get facilities in this region for its navy and its shipping, etc. You've seen the Gwadar, we have Hambantota, and they were trying, I don't know, they are still probably trying to get something in the Maldives. So these are some of the current sort of developments that are taking place. And India naturally has to keep all these developments in mind in planning its future maritime strategy.
Ambassador Chakravarti, Air Marshal Kapoor, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
And it's a wrap on this special broadcast. But news continues here on DD India. You can get all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
पापा ये सब?
हाँ, जो चीजें सालों से बेवजह पड़ी हो उन्हें हटा देना चाहिए।
ये भी दादाजी की पुरानी पासबुक और एफडी।
अरे ये कैसे रह गया?
पैसे गए?
नहीं, उपाय है। बैंक खाते को संचालित करते रहना चाहिए वरना खाता इनऑपरेटिव हो जाता है। ऐसे में बैंक से संपर्क करें, खाता सक्रिय करवाएं और आपकी रकम जो है उसे ब्याज समेत क्लेम करें।
दादू ये?
आरबीआई कहता है
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
सही कह रहा है।
This week on Defense Dynamics, India showcases its naval prowess through Tropex 25. Is the country sending a strong message to China and other regional powers about its maritime power projection? Also, with Pakistan trying to acquire new stealth fighters and China's growing military might, can the Indian Defence Forces counter the looming two-front war? As tensions prevail with China and Bangladesh, are the India's military exercises near critical Siliguri corridor important for safeguarding security in the northeast? And hundreds of Alawite civilians have been killed in Syria's coastal region. Is the new